Hello, welcome to this webinar around MCP and sales tools, basically. So for the people who were here last time, we've been talking about how to build an MCP server, and it was like a live session for more technical people. Today is going to be more about use cases and how to actually use MCPs. So we've prepared a few use cases that we'll be talking about. Remy is in the chat to answer any questions, and he'll be pinging me if you guys have any questions that need answering while I'm doing the demos. We are going to try to tackle about 4 use cases today, maybe a 5th one, and then talk about how to create your own MCP servers that you'll be able to plug and dust pretty much easily. So as a reminder for the people who don't know Dust, I don't have any slides in this webinar, so I don't have anything to show, but Dust is, I'll actually show the website. Dust is an AI operating system. So the goal of Dust is for you to be able to create agents, and in these agents, you'll be able to give instructions, data, so data sources that you can import directly in Dust in a few clicks, and tools. And this is quite new to have the possibility to plug in pretty much any MCP server, any platform you want that will be directly used by your agents. Your agents are able to use pretty much any model as well. So you can use GPT, Claude, Mistral, whatever you need. Some of them are better than others to use the right tools at the right moment, but we'll get to it. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to sign in to Dust. Why am I not logged in? I'm supposed to be logged in. There we go. And we'll start with the first use case, which is quite simple. First use case, I'm a salesperson and I want to prepare my prospect meetings. So in my Google Calendar, I can have a few meetings already set up. And I have an agent prepared that is called Daily Meeting Prep, and we'll just let it work, which is basically here to prepare all of my meetings for me. So this agent has a set of tools, and one of the tools that it's running is that it's actually calling other agents to be able to prepare each meeting. So the first thing it did here is a discovery of my calendar. So it found 2 discovery meetings coming up today. So one at 6 and one at 6:30 with customers called Fluence and a customer called CloudSpark. In this demo here, the company that we're impersonating is called Glittery Helmet. So you'll see Glittery in a lot of the demos, and that's going to be pretty much normal. So we'll wait for the agent to come back. Right now, what's happening is that it's calling Prep My Meeting, which is another agent, for both prospect meetings simultaneously. So if I have a full day of meetings, it's going to be calling a bunch of agents that all are going to work on their side to create the summaries that we'll see in a few minutes. While it's running, let me actually show you how things work. I can see that some people are asking what MCP is. Sorry, I haven't made the introduction because I expected people here to have heard about it. MCP is Model Context Protocol. I've made a full webinar on what it is, and we'll send you the link at the end of this webinar if you want to catch up. But basically, MCP is the new way for AI agents to talk to pretty much any other platform. Before MCP, every client, so Dust is a client, had to create their own connections to whatever platform. So to Google Calendar, if we wanted to talk to Google Calendar, we had to build something for Google Calendar. If we wanted to talk to Notion, we had to build something to talk to Notion. And basically now we can just have this one protocol that all tools are using. And so if the platform at hand, so if Google Calendar has an MCP server, the Dust agent instantly know how to use it. We don't have to build anything on our side. So it makes things a lot easier. So, well, we're still waiting for the agent to run. Yeah, there we go. Well, still running a little bit. So I'll actually show how we build it while it's running, because it's taking a while to research some data in our workspace and making sure that we're getting all the right information. The daily meeting prep here has a very short set of instructions. Your task is to look at my meetings for the day using the Google Calendar tool, identify meetings with prospects, and run the agent prep my meeting. That's it. Then there's a few things, because it's a demo agent, that we added to make sure that we're not showing any names that we don't want to show, etc. But that's out of the scope. We have tools that we attach to these agents. So as I said, agents are a set of instructions, a set of tools, and a set of sources. So in the tools and knowledge tab here, we have knowledge, which is data sources, which we won't use for this agent, and the tools. And the tools that we've already added are Google Calendar tool and Run Agent. If I look at the other tools that are available to me, I can see GitHub, Gmail, HubSpot, Notion, etc. So if I wanted my agent to write something before my meeting in my emails, I could ask Gmail to pre-write some drafts or anything I wanted to. If my data was in Salesforce, I could add the Salesforce tool to make sure that we have fresh data whenever we're preparing meetings. Or HubSpot is the same thing, or any other server that you could plug that I'll show you at the end of the demos how to create and plug a new server. All right, let's see if our agent is coming back. Well, of course, this is a demo effect, so we don't. Okay, there we go. Nope. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so my agent has finished talking, and it created 3 different meeting preps. So one of them is a candidate interview meeting. It's not going to be interesting for us here because we're looking at prospects meetings. First meeting prep, I'm opening the link. There we go. And it's actually creating a full meeting agenda, giving me the company background, meeting objectives, key talking points for my meeting. And what I can see here is that it'll also use some tools. So if I'm opening the tools, I can see that it's searched for the Disco company in HubSpot, which is the name of the company that I'm meeting today. Well, which it thought, sorry, no, it thought it was the company that I was meeting today, but it's a discovery meeting. So I just wrote Disco meeting, and the agent thought Disco was the name of the company. So it searched for Disco, didn't find anything, and then kept searching until it found some stuff. Actually, there we go. Here it started searching for a company ID, Fluence. So it started searching for the actual name of the company. It found some results and then kept going on this. And that's why we actually got some actual results around Fluence, their revenue, the location, etc. And this full meeting is something that I can use during the actual meeting. The preparation was done in a few minutes. I didn't have to do anything else than just ask my agent to run without giving any instructions whatsoever. I just ran daily meeting prep, and that's pretty much it. This is super powerful because it's actually using live data from your own Google Calendar. So how do you plug your Google Calendar? Basically, in Dust, you have a tools section here. And in this account, we've already plugged a lot tools, but here we've got the Google Calendar tool that was plugged in. If I want to add a new tool here, I would just have to actually connect my Google Calendar, but today it's already connected, and you can see all the actions that my agent.
Alban, I think we don't see the tools.
Oh, sorry, I'm on. Okay, I was on the wrong screen. So here, when I'm using tools, so if I'm going back to the chat. Well, I was in my chat. If I click on spaces here and tools, I can see the list of tools that are available to me in Dust, and I can add new tools. We'll talk about that right after. So here, the tool that I'm talking about is the Google Calendar one, which is already plugged in. But if it's not plugged in your workspace, it will ask you to actually log in to Google Calendar and just follow the steps. And here are the possible tools, actions that my tool can do in the Google Calendar tool. So you can list calendars, list events, get an event, create event, update event, delete event, and check availability. So that's pretty powerful when you have to plan your meetings, because the LLM will decide itself from the tool's descriptions what to do at what time. And so that's exactly what happened there. If I'm taking back Fluence here, prospect meeting preparation. So it actually got, if we look at the agent thoughts, it got today's calendar events to find the meetings with prospects, and it found 2 of them. Then it retrieved the event descriptions. It was able to know who was in the meeting. And then it was running the other agents that we just saw. So if we look at the other agents that it ran, so not this one, this one, I'm just going to open the other agent. This one is a little bit more instructions, but it's basically receiving data from a specific meeting and trying to help me through finding call summaries, support tickets, general company information that we plugged. So it has a way to search online for information about the company. It can search for information in our CRM. And if we want to search, for example, in our Google Drive as well, I could add another data source and say, okay, I want to find, well, support tickets that we might have in our Google Drive. So basically, I'm just adding a bunch of data sources that my agent can use. And after, at the end of the day, then my first agent will have all the information needed to prep my entire day. I'm trying to look at if there are any questions around that. Well, there's a lot of people talking, so it's going to be a little bit hard. Remy, if you want to put the questions in the Q&A for the end of the webinar, it might be easier to answer at the end. Or if you see any questions that stand off on this topic particularly, that would be nice. So this agent specifically uses the Google Calendar MCP. The rest is mainly a Dust internal tool type of thing. But the Google Calendar MCP is super new on our side. It's like a few days old. But now, if you have a Dust account and you want to plug in your Google Calendar, and it works also for Gmail, we'll see that right after. You can go ahead now. All right. Let's go to another small demo, which is deck creation. Okay, so let's say I got my I got a meeting. Can you give a generic definition of the tools section? Okay, let me just answer this. So tools are actions that your agent can take. It means a lot of things. It means either gathering data from some other platform or updating data in some other platform. So it could be creating pages in Notion. It could be finding a Notion page. It could be finding anything in HubSpot, Salesforce, creating a Gmail draft, things like that. If you plug in a tool that is a tools management system like Zapier, Pipedream, or Make.com, I can see that some people want to connect Pipedream or Pipedrive. Yeah, we can connect pretty much anything through other platforms that are specialized in connecting other tools. We'll talk about that right after. Right now, we'll do the short demos on specific tools. So the first one was Google Calendar. The second one is going to be Google Slides. We'll be building a deck automatically. And so let's do that. All right, so I've got, let's say I had my meeting transcript, and I want my agent now to be able to build a deck. And so basically, I have a template, which is this one. This is my discovery call template deck, and that's pretty much it. So you can see here, it's a bunch of variables, meaning type, company name, date, the key challenges that we identified during the call, challenge title, etc. And then the best use cases that we identified, and then the next steps that we want to take. If I go back to Dust, I can see that my agent is asking me to run an MCP from Make, which is a Google Slides integration. So we'll see that we plugged the Make.com scenario that I'll just show right after, that is able to take a template from Google Drive and create an actual deck out of it. And our agent, which is plugged into our data and knows from HubSpot where we are with the Fluence company, where from our meetings, what the next steps are, etc. So our agent is actually building the company overview, key challenges, team and use cases, and next steps. So that's what we saw in this template right here: company, key challenges, use cases, next steps. If I'm coming back to this, it's telling me, okay, this deck has been created and is available here. So if I'm opening it, I can see that it's 5:20. At 5:20, a deck was created, and I'm opening this deck. And now my variables are not variables anymore. They've been filled. So now I've got the actual date, the name of the company. The key challenges that were identified is that they need more energy storage operation efficiency. They need to automate their industry. They have challenges around knowledge management, and they have use cases in operations, engineering, and management. Next steps, we need to organize a deep dive with the operations team, conduct a pilot, develop custom AI assistants, create an integration plan, etc., etc. This is all based on what this agent has found when using some tools. So again, it used tools from HubSpot just because this is a demo, but in your company, the data could be coming from pretty much everywhere. Why did I stop sharing my screen? So this is coming, this is very simple as well. If we open how we built this agent, your task is to create a discovery deck for the sales meeting, etc. We're giving the actual link of the folder where the decks are going to be created. And the tools are HubSpot to be able to bring the data in, and the Make MCP server, which is not a native Dust server. So I'll show you how to build one. Let's go to Make.com. So Make.com is one of these platforms that I just mentioned, which is basically an automation platform. So you've got a lot of them. You've got Zapier, you've got Pipedream, you've got NA10. For this demo, we're using Make.com. We have one scenario here, which is called Google Slides integration, and that's able to create a presentation from a template. That's everything it does. anything that we need to know in this integration is the meeting type, company name, and then all the variables that we just saw. So challenge title, challenge 1, challenge 2, challenge 3, use cases, etc. Basically, how this scenario is being used by an AI agent in Dust is very simple. If I go in my profile here, I've got an MCP access button in Make. And again, all the other platforms have the same thing. Zapier has the same thing. Pipedream has the same thing. And I'm just going to create an MCP token. Demo MCP token. I'm going to add it. And now here I've got a URL, which I copy to the clipboard. And in Dust, so I'm going back to Dust, I can add a tool, and I've got this button here, which is add MCP server. And this is just asking me for a URL, which is a nice thing because I just had a URL, right? So I'm just going to paste this URL and save. And what's happening here is that Dust is detecting the actions.
Alban, we don't see your screen.
I don't know why. This is... I don't know why my screen drops. Yeah, Remy, tell me as soon as the screen drops, because it just keeps dropping for no reason. So I hope you saw me. Well, I'll remove just to make sure everybody saw that. So I'm going to add a tool, add an MCP server, and when I was in Make, I copy pasted a URL that they gave me when I activated my MCP token. I'm just going to save that. And what's happening here is that Dust is using the MCP protocol to ask Make which tools are available. And so if we look at what's happening here, we can see that we've got a Discord integration and Google Slides integration and a Gmail integration that are available directly to all my agents that want to use that new MCP server. I can name it a little bit better, make MCP webinar demo, and able to create Google Slides presentations. There's a few advanced settings, like for people who need more authentication and stuff like that. I won't go into the details of that. So now, someone asked how I can actually use the tool. So if I go back to my agents, which was discovery, cool. Well, how is it called again? Deck creation, sorry. I've got too many tabs open now. So deck creation, if I find my agent called deck creation and I edit it, now in my tools and knowledge, I can actually find my new webinar demo MCP server and add it. And that's it. That's everything I need to do. Now my agent is able to use any scenario that is in my Make account. And we saw that it was able to use Google Slides, so pull from Google Slides and create decks if necessary. It was also able to ping Discord and Gmail if necessary as well. That's it. Well, the Gmail one is overkill because Dust has a Gmail native integration now. All right, so that's how we create a general MCP server in Make. We'll look at something else right after to create specific integrations, a little bit more complex. All right, cool. So I just had my meeting. Great. Everybody's happy. And I want to do a follow-up. So I've got an agent called meeting follow-up, and I'm going to paste here the transcripts of my meeting. So right now we're pasting because it's a demo, but if you have an automation system that just pushes the transcript to Dust, you can automate all of this. Or if you're linked to our transcript system as well, because we manage transcripts for Google Meet, Zoom, not Zoom, sorry, Mojo, and Gong. So if you want to actually have your transcripts uploaded directly into Dust, you can. And right now, I'm going to just let my meeting follow-up agent work on this transcript. And you can see what's happening here. So it's actually trying to create a company in HubSpot in case it's not already done. So let's see what it does. Invalid industry value. Oh, crap. I clicked on decline. That might break stuff. I didn't want to do that. Okay, we'll let it work. Company creation failed, obviously. I'll just try again because I clicked on decline, which is not what you want to do during a demo where you want to show how it works. Okay, so basically on Dust, when a model or an agent wants to do an action from an MCP server that can change data, you'll have to tell if it can do it or not, because we don't want LLMs to be able to just change data in your CRM without you knowing, right? So every time it needs to create a contact, create a company, do whatever it needs, I need to allow it. To read data, you can tick a box that says don't ask me anymore, but to create data, you need to. So it's creating data records for the people who are in the call. It's creating a company record as well. So it's trying again because the industry value was wrong. So we'll just let it run a little bit more. Now that the company is created, it's trying to create a deal for this opportunity. So I don't have to fill anything myself. It's going to run it by itself. So it keeps going. In the meantime, same thing, because that's a demo. We'll just look at how it's built during its work. So we've got a few instructions, about how this is supposed to work. So it's designed to help sales team manage post-call actions effectively. Primary function is to analyze call transcripts and generate comprehensive follow-up plans. There's a few things telling it how the follow-up plan is supposed to be: call summary, write a follow-up email, send calendar invites, HubSpot update. So here we can see that for now it decided to update HubSpot first. And then hopefully, if the demo works well, it should ask me to send some follow-up emails. All right, so it's still working in HubSpot. Now it's actually creating a note to capture the key discussion points. And if I understand, if we read the instructions correctly here, it should try to write a follow-up email in my Gmail and send calendar invites. If I'm looking at the tools that are plugged in, I'm just going to keep. I take a few seconds just to come back to the discussion and click allow when it tries to do something in HubSpot, or it's going to take a while. But basically, we can see that we've got 3 different tools that are plugged in to my agent, which are Google Calendar, Gmail, and HubSpot. So that's the only thing it needs. No configuration needed because the tools are already pre-configured when I plug them in. And so it's very, very easy. I'm just coming back to the agent. I had to actually retry because that's demo effect, I guess. The agent crashed because the LLM provider had an issue. So, well, let me see if I've got one that, yeah, we've got an issue with Anthropic. It's overloaded. Okay, well, let's actually change it. That's one of the cool things with Dust is that right now Anthropic is overloaded. So I'm going to change it. And instead of using Claude, which is by Anthropic, I'm just going to switch and use an OpenAI model, which is GPT 4.1. So let's do the same thing, meeting follow-up, but using GPT 4.1, which shouldn't be overloaded. I hope it's going to work the same because we tried the demo on Claude and not on GPT. We'll see what's happening. Okay, so it's actually running a call summary, and it should start running some tools after a while. And if it doesn't, then the demo will crash, but I hope it won't. Let's take a second. Would you like me? Okay, so GPT is actually asking for permissions before doing anything. Do all you need without asking. Go for it. So right now it should ask me to create some stuff in HubSpot or in Gmail, or yeah. So it's great. It's asking me to create a task in HubSpot. We can see everything that it's writing in HubSpot right now. So it's a lot more verbose than Claude. So now it's asking me, I can draft the follow-up email for the technical. Yeah, go for it. I want you to draft my email. So Claude in the demo was doing everything without asking, but you can see that GPT behaves differently. So now, okay, it's trying to create a draft in my Gmail. I'm going to allow it and see what happens. Follow-up email drafted. Okay. Okay, so if I open my Gmail, I can see here a draft in my Gmail. 5:34, it's right now. So if I open it, I have the full draft already pre-written in my Gmail with all the participants of my meeting. And I just have to take a look at it and send if I'm fine with it. Took me literally 2 seconds. All right, and send follow-up invites. Let's see. So now I'm just asking the, well, it's already, it says that it already did. Okay. Well, the fact that we change the model makes the agent behave a little bit differently. That's why when you create your agents, you have to make sure that it behaves exactly the way you want. And some models are going to be closer to what you want to do exactly or not. So this one was also supposed to send an actual invite email for a Google Calendar meeting. But I guess it doesn't really want to do it. Let me just ask again, suggest a few slots for the next meeting. It should try to. It's not even trying to call my Google Calendar. Okay, so GPT has a way different way to understand our instructions. So let's put it back. Maybe Claude is back right now. We'll put Claude 4. Actually, we'll go back to the discussion and schedule the next meeting. We'll try again. This is a pure demo effect, but this is also the world of LLMs. LLMs is a new paradigm. You don't have an exact answer when you have an exact input. Like if you ask the same thing twice to different models, they're not going to answer the same thing at all. And even if you ask the same thing twice to the same model, it might not. So here you can see that when I put back Claude, it's actually asking me to create an event in Google Calendar. So I'm going to allow it. Calendar shows conflicts for July 1st. So it actually pulled from my calendar and tried to create an actual account one. So created a meeting for July 2nd at 2 p.m. So if I look in my calendar right now here, I can actually see that meeting. Clear helmet technical deep dive demo with like some description and the people that were invited. So yeah, there we go. We actually got there. It took a while. I had to change models because the Anthropic was having an outage. And you can see that for the way we write descriptions, we write instructions, Anthropic is a little bit better at understanding them. But GPT has another way of writing instructions. So each of them has very separate styling of instructions to understand them correctly. Do you have any questions on this tool on this use case for now? I don't seem to see much of them. Cool. So let's go to the next one, which is trying to log some product feedback. So let's say I had a meeting with a customer that, or a prospect or whatever, that is giving me some product feedback. I have an agent called log product feedback. And now that you know, I'm actually going to show how it works. Well, show how it's built before showing how it works. Now that you know how the tools are plugged in and things like that. So the instructions are that you act as an experienced product manager. Your task is to find product feedback in the discussion and log them in the product feedback database in Notion. So we actually have a Notion database that is this. Bunch of product feedback, bunch of stuff in there, feedback type, impact, priority, etc. You add all your feedback at the same time to save time, which means that you're not going to ask the user 17 times to add 17 feedbacks. And the one thing that we added to that agent is the Notion tool. That's it. So we plugged in the Notion tool in the tools page that I showed earlier, logged in there, and that's it, nothing else. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to paste a meeting transcript to that guy and let it work. So same thing, that meeting transcript pasting could be completely automatable. You can automate that with either one of the platforms, Zapier, etc., or our own transcripts processing thing. So right now, what's happening is that it's checking the product feedback database schema, trying to understand which columns it should fill, which possible values are here for each column. Because like if you have a column with some tags and things like that, you don't want it to just invent a bunch of tags. Okay, so same thing. Anthropic is still overloaded, so I'm just going to try again so that it behaves the right way. Let's hope that Anthropic is not going to be overloaded too much. We're basically at a wrong time of the day, looks like, for them. We'll try again. But basically, what this agent is supposed to do is create new entries in my Notion database. So here, well, we can see the database move actually live, which is nice. I don't know if you caught that, but there were some new lines that just appeared at the top here, which are the title, description, feedback type, impact, priority, etc. So this is actually working, even if it shows me that it breaks, because there we go. So how this works is that the agent starts doing its job, and then Anthropic says, oh, there's too many people trying to call me right now, and I can't answer. So the agent says, oh, well, I can't answer, but it actually did some job. We saw that move again. So now I've got an actual feedback table. Well, we've got a little issue on the date submitted, but if we open the history.
Alban, we are still on Dust.
Thank you. Sorry. So here in the table, we can see that in the date submitted is June 19th, and we're June 26th. But it's just a matter of instructions for our bot, which is not putting the right date. But if I open the actual history of the page itself, you can see that the page is not 10 minutes old, so it doesn't have any history. So it just got created. That was created by the agent right now. Demo effect is that Anthropic decided to not work during a big demo like this, but this is live and that's happening. So I could try to do the same thing, change the model, but you saw what it does. It just behaves a little bit differently. So I would have to rewrite a bit my instructions to make sure it works with a new model. Okay. So last thing I wanted to show here is that we can, so there's one more little thing that we can show for sales, which is trying to find icebreakers. So let's say I've got my LinkedIn feed. This is the Dust LinkedIn page. I think I'm actually going to have to share my screen to show the Dust Chrome extension. So we do have a Chrome extension. I think we see it now, right? We do have a Chrome extension that's able to read what's happening in your browser. So here I'm in LinkedIn. I'm looking at the Dust page feed, and we wrote an Icebreakers agent, which has simple instructions around how to write some icebreakers for this specific company, depending on what their last news were. And the last news are basically the LinkedIn posts that they were doing. So I attached the text of this current page, which is Dust Post LinkedIn. I'm going to send it to Icebreakers and hope that Icebreakers is not on Anthropic and will not tell me that it doesn't work because it's overloaded. We'll see. Okay, so it's actually working. There we go. I need to search the LinkedIn feed data to identify potential icebreakers for sales meetings. Let's give it a second. Search, return some LinkedIn data, mostly technical metadata information. I need to search for actual post content. Okay. It's taking a few seconds.
No, I think you first need to browse through the page to make sure that the content is loaded in the page, and then you can attach it. So if you browse a little bit.
Yeah, maybe I should browse a bit more posts. Okay, let's do it again. I'm going to open a bunch more posts. There we go. I hope that I don't have to click on more on every single post. All right, we'll let it work a bit. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to actually open the Icebreakers agent so you can see what's behind the scene. And what's behind the scene is absolutely nothing. You act as an experienced sales. Your task is to identify potential icebreakers. You get the person's LinkedIn feed and maybe the company LinkedIn feed too. Make it easy to scan through using format using Markdown. And there is no tools attached. If I wanted to make it a little bit more versatile and try to have the actual news of the company that they have on their website or that they have in the press, I could just add tool and say, okay, I want this agent to be able to search the web as well. And in the instructions, I could say, okay, once you find also search online for the latest news, anything fresher than 3 months will do around the target company. And maybe if you're in a sales motion, you want to say anything positive, fresher than 3 months will do. All right, so my icebreaker, let's go back to LinkedIn. My icebreakers are here. So yeah, there you go. Congratulations on the Series A led by Sequoia, crossing 1 million ARR in a year. So that was from like I scrolled a bit too much because now we're at 5 million. But basically, we're expanding the team quite a lot. We're seeing a bunch of the people that joined us in the last few months. Industry recognition, strong user engagement. Basically, it took all of the posts that we wrote and created icebreakers that are spot on and actually using real data from the company. Very simple to do, very simple to put in place, and very simple to use with the Chrome extension. Super fast. All right, let me go back to Pipedream. The last part of this is to let you actually create an MCP server on pretty much anything. So we already looked at how to build an MCP server in Make, but in Make, it creates an MCP server for all of your Make scenarios. So if you create one MCP server, it's going to let your agent use any of the available scenarios that you've put in that MCP server. Pipedream or Zapier do it in a different way. They actually let you plug and connect yourself to any tool, and that will give you a specific URL, which you can give to your agent. So let's say, I don't know, let's say, let's see the tools that they have here. Well, let's say we've got a Zendesk connection that we want our agents to be able to interact with Zendesk tickets. So here we're able to create a ticket, delete a ticket, update, etc., get ticket info list, and we'll try to use that. So I'm just going to sign in. So I'm signing in Pipedream. It's generating a URL, the same thing in the same way that we saw for Make. But the main thing here is that it's asking me to connect my Zendesk account because I haven't connected it yet. So I'm going to keep going. Our demo Zendesk account is that, I think. It just takes me a second to actually log into that thing. Connection failed, of course, connection failed. All right, Zendesk is not going to want to work here. Let me try to see another connection. I'm trying again because Zendesk is a pretty nice example, but Pipedream does not want to let me do it. Okay, well, we're not going to do the Zendesk. I'm just going to try again once more. The demo god is not with me today. Oh, there we go. Okay, I don't know why I didn't want at the beginning. So now my Zendesk account is connected to this one specific URL that I can see here. So basically, I've got a URL with a bunch of numbers here. And these numbers have been authenticated into my Zendesk account. So you don't want to share it. Well, I can share it today because it's all demo accounts. It's not an issue. But if you really want to do it in your Zendesk, you don't want to share that externally. Okay, so now if I go back to Dust, we can create a tool. Always the same thing. I'm going to add the tool, add an MCP server with the URL that I just got from Pipedream. I'm going to save. I'm going to rename it Zendesk Pipedream Tool Demo. description, and here is all, like, that's all the things I can do. And when you add an external MCP server in Dust, you have the possibility of choosing the stake of each tool. So basically the stake is either high, which means every time we use the tool, we ask the user if it's okay to use that tool, or low, where only the first time we ask the user, and if the user ticks the box saying don't ask again, we won't ask again. So what we recommend is that for anything that updates or creates data, you stay high, and for anything that's just pulling data, showing stuff, you can go low. So for search, I can go low. List, I can go low. Get ticket, I can go low. But delete ticket, create ticket, update ticket, I want to stay high. All right, my tool is ready. Let's build an agent on top of it. You are a sales agent that has access to Zendesk to create tickets for feature requests. You can also search for tickets, find if the feature request was already asked for, and give the current status. Okay, that's going to be it. We're going to add in tool our new Zendesk tool that we just created. Of course, it's not there. Oh, it's called PD Connect. I don't think it got renamed correctly. So let me just save that so I keep my instructions, and I'll rename. We'll call that Zen Assist. I'll just have to rename the tool I created because I don't think I renamed it correctly. Which one was mine? This one. Yeah, Pipe Dream Zendesk demo webinar. Going to save this time. Okay, so let's go back to the agent, which is called Zen Assist. And I'm going to attach this time the Zendesk demo webinar tool. And that's it. And now if I'm in a sales call, or I could even throw a meeting about where the user asks for some features, I can say, okay, feature request. We want to have flying cats around the website. Okay, so if this works correctly, it should pop up a window saying, okay, do you want me to create a ticket? So that's happening right now. I'm going to allow it. And if I open Zendesk, let's hope, I haven't tested this before. so let's hope things are going to work. I've created a feature request, ticket 56. Let me open Zendesk. I actually don't see it. I'm going to open 56. There we go. Feature request, flying cats around the website. A user has requested a feature to add an image, blah, blah, blah. So it's actually created the ticket in Zendesk. Oh, we dropped again the screen. I don't know why it's happening. So we actually created the ticket in Zendesk without having to do anything else than just plug the Zendesk tool that we created in one click on PipeDream. We have 3 minutes left. This is the power of MCP, and this is the power of MCP on Dust. You can basically now do anything you think possible. It's just a matter of like trying to make sure that you have the right instructions and the right tools plugged to your data, to your agents. All right, I've got 3 minutes left to try to answer some questions. We're pretty much done with the demo. Let me try to see if there were any Q&A.
I added some Q&A on the screen.
Okay. Any integrations with Outlook? Currently, we only have Gmail as a native integrations in Dust, but pretty much the same way. If you want to find, like, we can actually look at Pipedream. I'm always going to Pipedream just because it's easier for me, because that's the one I'm using. But you can go to any other ones. They have a Microsoft Outlook tool, and so you can label emails, create drafts. There's a bunch of stuff that is actually doable. And in the near future, we might, like, if enough people are asking us for an Outlook tool, then we'll add it, because it's getting a lot easier to add tools than it was for connectors. When will Salesforce MCP be able to create records and ETA? We don't have an ETA for that because we're testing. It's the very beginning of MCP. And so we're kind of a bit frivolous. Like, we don't exactly know yet if it's going to do weird things in your Salesforce. And so we want to make sure that people use it in read mode first before actually going in CRUD mode, but likely very soon. If the service has natively supported MCP server, we recommend using it. Oh, I think that was your answer. Cool. Do you guys have any other questions? What's the main difference between Dust's approach, integrating tool with MCPs, and using AI agents natively with Make.com? So that's a good question. Basically, Make.com, Zapier, and all that, they're workflow first, AI second. We're AI first, workflow second. We believe that the future is not workflows. We believe that the future, like, I don't know if any of you have used or heard about Cloud Code or Cursor, but these are not using workflows. Like, if you had to use a workflow to define what Cursor is supposed to do to help you code your code base, that's not going to work. So we believe that in the future, agents are going to be smart enough to build their own workflows just with instructions. And the fact that humans have today to set workflows and say, okay, if this happens, then do that, is going to fade away. And right now we're at the time where it's hard for a human to say, okay, I'm going to let a machine decide for me. But we strongly believe that in the future, it's going to be way easier. What about authentication when using Pipedream? Do we need to create as many Pipedream tools as we have users for a specific tool in Dust? Yeah, so Dust is a company-based tool platform. So if you have to create a tool that you share with the company, then if it's an external MCP server, it's going to be shared by everybody. So everybody is going to be using the same account. So for the Google Slides example that I showed, I don't know if you saw that, but it was Rémi's account that was used to create a Google site. If you use a native Dust MCP server, so for example, Google Calendar, Gmail, Salesforce, HubSpot, and Notion, I think. No, Notion doesn't, but we're preparing a bunch of others. The native ones in Dust ask the user to connect before their first answer. So every user uses their own account. That's a big difference. How would I connect this to WhatsApp Pipedream? Yeah, same thing. Basically, use one of the platforms that has access to WhatsApp and that can create MCP servers on top of it. Cool. Sorry, it was a lot of stuff in 1 hour, a lot of demos, a lot of maybe new information for a bunch of people, because at the beginning of the webinar, some people asked what MCP was. So again, I invite you, if you don't know anything about MCP and you survived this hour and you're still here, look at the webinar that we'll share that I've done around MCP and how things work under the hood and what it is and why it was built, etc. It opens your eyes a little bit more on what's possible. Thanks a lot. I don't see any more questions coming in, so thanks a lot. We're 3 minutes out. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Join the Slack community. We have a Slack community. Remy just sent the link. There's a lot of people answering a lot of stuff in there. Come join us. Introduce yourself. Say what you want to build, which agents you want to build, how you want stuff to happen. And yeah, I'll see you in the next webinar. Thank you again.